Good morning, everybody. My name is Chanel Hollywood, and today I'll be sharing an article titled Bridging Theory and Practice Communicating Inclusive Education for South African Schools. I will be exploring what inclusive education really means, how people define it differently, and what we can all do as teachers, parents, as well as communities to make sure every learner in South Africa is supported and able to succeed. First, to start, why inclusive education matters. Inclusive education is all about making sure that every learner can take part in school and learning, no matter their background, ability, or their situation. It's about fairness and giving everyone a real chance to learn and succeed. In South Africa, this is especially important because of our history. For so many years, not all children were able to go to school or had the same opportunities to learn. Today, our education system is working hard to change that, to make sure that all children, including those who struggle or need extra help, can take part fully in their education. But inclusion is more than just letting children into classrooms. It's about helping them feel that they belong, that they are supported, and that they can achieve their full potential. That means schools need to adapt their teaching, provide the right support, and make sure that every learner is truly included and not just present. Next, we'll move on to understanding contested definitions. Now, one of the challenges with inclusive education is that people define it in different ways. Some people take what we call a narrow view or perspective, which is they see inclusion mainly as placing learners with disabilities in mainstream schools. This is often referred to as the medical model. It focuses a lot on access, which is making sure a learner is physically in the classroom, but it doesn't always make sure that they can participate or succeed for that matter. For example, a learner with a hearing impairment might be sitting in class, but if the teacher doesn't know how to support them properly, they might still feel left out or struggle to learn. On the other hand, there's a much broader view of inclusion, one that sees it as a continuous process for all learners and not just those with disabilities. This approach, which is supported by people like Ainscow 2005 and UNESCO 2005, focuses on three key ideas: presence, participation, and achievement. So, presence means that learners are at school, participation means that they are actively involved in learning, and achievement means that they are actually reaching their learning goals. This broader approach asks schools to keep improving their teaching, their curriculum, as well as their support systems to make sure that every single child can learn and feel part of the school community, as they should. Both definitions matter, but they lead to very different outcomes. The narrow one can lead to partial inclusion. Learners are in the room, but they're not really part of the learning. The broader one pushes schools to make real, lasting changes so that everybody can take part and succeed, as is their educational right. For example, think about a child who speaks a different home language. If the teacher uses only one language in class, that child might feel excluded. But if the school provides language support or uses visuals and interactive activities, that learner can participate more fully. That is the definition of true inclusion. Next, we'll move on to practical recommendations. So, how can we make this happen in real schools? Inclusive education works best when schools, teachers, parents, and communities all work together. Here are a few practical ways that we are able to do that. First, teachers can adapt their teaching for different learners. Some children learn best through visuals, others through discussion or hands on tasks. When teachers mix their teaching methods, every learner has a much better chance to understand fully and to take part. Secondly, schools should plan and collaborate. Teachers can share ideas and work as a team to support their learners. Many schools have learner support teams. These teams can check that every child is getting the help that they need, whether it's emotional support, extra lessons, or assistive devices. Third, we need to involve families and communities. Parents can support learning at home and speak up for their children's needs. Communities can raise awareness, volunteer, or even help schools with resources. Inclusion becomes much stronger when it's supported by everyone and not just the teachers alone. And finally, we must use the policies and frameworks that already exist. South Africa has strong Inclusive education policies, like the Education White Paper 6, sourced from the Department of Education 2001, and the DBE Guidelines 2010 and 2011. These documents give teachers clear directions on how to support learners with barriers and how to make inclusion part of everyday school life. When these strategies come together, schools become places where every learner feels valued, supported, and able to succeed. Inclusive education is not just about letting children go to class. It's about making sure that every learner can join in, learn, and fully achieve their best. In South Africa, this is so important because of our past and because of our commitment to fairness and equality. By understanding both the narrow and broad ways that people define inclusion, we can see where schools might fall short and how they can do better. If schools focus on inclusion as a process and only on presence, participation, and achievement, we can create learning spaces that help every child thrive. So, what can you do? Teachers, you can keep adapting your lessons, working together, and use the support systems that have been made available to you. Parents, advocate for your child and partner with the schools. Communities and policymakers, provide resources, encouragement, and keep inclusion a priority in every single school that you see. Inclusive education is a journey, not something that happens once and is done and dusted. When schools, families, and communities work together, we can create education systems where every learner feels valued, supported, and able to succeed. Thank you.